I mean, what do you think could have happened?
I don't know, but I was spitting out and rinsing like there was no tomorrow.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 darkest Seinfeld moments.
So you're free?
Yes, I'm free because the murderer struck again.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most unexpected and memorable scenes of black comedy on the groundbreakingly edgy sitcom. Be warned that some of these picks reference spoilers. What edgy Seinfeld moments do you remember the most? Tell us the deal about it in the chat. Number 10. Faulty wheelchair brakes.
It reminds me of why I got into this business in the first place. How much? How about $240? We'll take it.
Things start, at least figuratively, going downhill after George takes a handicapped parking spot outside of a mall. This causes Lola, a woman in a wheelchair, to have an accident after she is forced to park on an incline. George and Kramer remorsefully replace the wrecked equipment. However, they buy cheap. That's when things literally go downhill for Lola because of faulty brakes.
$240.
Well, it was slightly used.
Used?
Although it's revealed that she survived this steep descent in the series finale, the incident was a shocking ending for poor Lola's unfortunate storyline.
So Mr. Costanza parked in a handicapped spot, and as a result, you got in an accident and your wheelchair was destroyed?
That's right.
And then Mr. Kramer gave you a used wheelchair.
That's right.
George and Kramer's attempt to make amends only made things so much worse. Number 9. Jerry Goes to the Dentist. One of Bryan Cranston's breakout roles had him play Dr. Tim Whatley, an eccentric dentist who regularly gave Jerry Seinfeld the creeps.
Where's Jennifer today?
Oh, she's over at Dr. Sussman's office. Yeah, we find it fun to swap now and then.
He goes beyond creepy after Jerry is put under nitrous oxide for a tooth filling. When the comedian wakes up, he sees Dr. Whatley and his assistant adjusting their clothes. This leads him to suspect that the two took advantage of his sedated state. Jerry, and especially Elaine, are willing to brush off this possible assault, leaving the mystery unresolved.
So you were violated by two people while you were under the gas. So what? You're single.
Some fans, however, have trouble letting go of how deeply Dr. Whatley may have been violating medical ethics. Never mind Elaine responding to Jerry's concern that he's damaged goods with,
Join the club.
Number 8. Babubat Gets Deported. Pakistani immigrant Babubat justly considers Jerry Seinfeld to be the bane of his existence. The comedian did actually feel guilty about ruining the businessman's dream cafe with bad suggestions.
You say make Pakistani? Babubat have only Pakistani restaurant. But where are people?
So Jerry manages to get the man an apartment and a job in his building. This noble gesture backfires when the comedian accidentally receives Babu's visa renewal forms in the mail. To make matters worse, Jerry's attempts to get a lawyer to fix everything also goes sideways. Babu is thus deported back to Pakistan.
I will exact vengeance on this man. I cannot forget him. He haunts me. He is a very bad man.
He ultimately gets his sworn revenge by testifying against the gang at their trial in the series finale. Although Babu was able to return to the States to do so, his tragedy is strong evidence that Jerry Seinfeld can easily ruin lives.
Send them away. Send them all away. Lock them up forever. They are not human. They are very bad. Very, very, very bad.
Number 7. Jerry's Playtime. Nostalgia can make people do bizarre things. Jerry is thrilled by the massive vintage toy collection that his girlfriend Celia inherited from her late father.
Where did you get all these?
My dad was a collector. I inherited them after he died from a long, painful bout with
Super Bowl! Hey, an original G.I. Joe.
Their collector's value is too great for her to let a grown man play with them. When Jerry later fetches Celia's pain relief medicine, he deliberately gives her a nighttime dose so he can play with the toys while she's unconscious. Jerry knows from Dr. Tim Whatley that there are much worse motivations for this action. Nonetheless, Kramer was deeply disturbed when he heard the story.
You need wrong kind of medicine.
She's even got that old Mattel football game that we love.
Oh, come on. You gotta get me over there.
Wait a minute. You mean to say that you drugged a woman so you could take advantage of her toys?
George and Elaine, on the other hand, joined in on the unsettling fun and games. Nobody got hurt, but the gag of Jerry drugging someone for his own interests has obviously not aged well.
You drugged a woman in order to play with her toy collection. How do you feel about that?
It was great. I've done it a few more times since then.
Number 6. Crazy Joe Davola. After attending a performance of Leon Cavallo's Pagliacci, Jerry and Elaine begin to notice parallels between their lives and the classic opera. Elaine is dating her own Pagliacci, Joe Davola, who becomes obsessively concerned that she's cheating on him. Elaine visits his apartment to find a wall covered with photos of her.
Oh, you scared me.
Good. Fear is our most primal emotion.
You left your door open.
I know. I like to encourage intruders.
Additionally, Joe also physically makes it difficult for her to leave. This is just one of the events that spawned the nickname Crazy Joe Davola. The scene in question is even lit like a thriller movie.
I don't know how this Pagliacci thing actually turns out, but I mean, I would assume that there was big trouble for that clown.
You're not leaving.
By the time Joe actually dons a clown costume, it's full-on horror. This storyline is altogether telling of how disturbing Pagliacci is underneath Leon Cavallo's beautiful music.
It's Banaka.
Banaka?
It undoubtedly gets more disturbing still underneath Seinfeld's dark comedy. Number 5. Puerto Rican Flag Incidents.
Who is burning the flag? Him?
It's not very nice.
Kramer is glad to join in on the festivities during the Puerto Rican Day Parade. However, disaster strikes when he lights a cigar with a sparkler, accidentally igniting a Puerto Rican flag. As Kramer stomps out the flame, he is attacked by an angry mob that misconstrues the incident as a cultural insult.
So I was wondering if you know what day this is.
Because it's Puerto Rican Day.
Maybe we should stump you like you stumped the flag.
Puerto Rican audiences also saw the scene in a similar way. What's worse is Kramer responding to the violent retaliation with the line,
You know, it's like this every day in Puerto Rico.
NBC issued an apology and temporarily banned the episode from reruns. While this isn't the most morbid Seinfeld scene, its insensitivity made it one of the most controversial. Number 4. Axe Accident. While Seinfeld has a great sense for the human condition, it doesn't always treat human life with such reverence. An edgy joke about Cuban immigrants definitely raised eyebrows.
Jerry Seinfeld, please.
Oh, you must be Kramer's guys. Come on in. You got the cigars?
What cigars?
Kramer said I was supposed to bring him back some Cubans.
We are the Cubans.
But things only get more disturbing after Japanese tourists get trapped in the drawer chest they were sleeping in at Kramer's. Jerry is forced to free them by destroying the furniture with an axe.
Move to the back of the drawers!
Jerry?
Not the fun, man!
If that wasn't dark enough, Elaine's boyfriend Brett is accidentally struck when he tries to control the situation. Later, while the doctor treating his concussion gets distracted, the nurse says they're losing the patient. That's right, Jerry may have accidentally killed someone, with no repercussions. It was a grim punchline to an already dark plot.
Doctor? Doctor? Doctor, I think we're losing him.
Number 3. The Smog Strangler strikes again. In Seinfeld's 2-part Season 4 premiere, Kramer heads to Los Angeles in search of fame.
You scream good.
You too.
He instead finds infamy when a woman he met falls victim to the Smog Strangler. After Jerry and George search for proof of their friend's innocence, police release him for the most obvious reason. Though serial killers have never been a taboo subject for sitcoms, Kramer being saved by another murder shocked audiences.
What happened?
Somebody got killed while they had me in custody.
Really?
Yeah.
You hear that? Somebody else was killed.
No kidding. Somebody else got killed?
Not only does the real killer get away, but he may have earlier escaped police custody alongside Jerry and George. This was a classic instance of the gang's good fortune holding fatal consequences for someone else. They may have unintentionally endangered all of LA.
Things are going pretty well for me here. I met a girl. Kramer, she was murdered. Yeah, well, you know, I wasn't looking for a long-term relationship.
Number 2. Splats. When the gang visits a friend after she has a baby, George seems mostly excited that he's secured a parking spot right in front of the hospital.
What about that spot I got? Huh?
Yeah, I saw the spot.
You open the door to the car, boom, you walk right into the hospital. You can't beat that spot. I am on a roll.
That changes when a psych ward patient leaps out of the building and falls to his death on top of the car. This set up a subplot in which George tries to get the hospital to pay for the damages. Of course, under the tragic circumstances, characters and audiences had trouble sympathizing with George's crusade.
And you greedily, callously want to profit from it?
Well, profit. I think you'll see from the estimate that I'm not really profiting that much.
This exemplified showrunner Larry David's signature interest in the clash between callous logic and social etiquette. The darkly comedic death may make for great satire, but it may make for greater controversy.
Get out. Get out now. Get out of my office.
Should I just leave?
Get out!
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Toxic envelopes. George spends season 7 trying to get out of his engagement to Susan Ross.
I just feel like I can't do this in the summer. I just feel like I need a little more time because I just feel like I'm not ready yet. I'm frightened and I'm scared.
The problem resolved itself in what some consider one of the darkest sitcom moments ever. After licking too many envelopes for wedding invitations, Susan collapses. At the hospital, George learns that the envelope's cheap yet toxic adhesive fatally poisoned his fiancée. No less disturbing is the gang's lack of grief over this tragic news. Though he won't admit it, George is visibly relieved.
Hey, what can I tell you?
All right.
Come on, let's get some coffee.
The already bleak gag came out of professional difficulties with actress Heidi Swedberg. Audiences were polarized by this twist. Whether they continue to love George or not, his selfish actions remain at the heart of one of the show's darkest twists.
I've got the funeral tomorrow, but my weekend is pretty wide open. And, I was wondering... Hello?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.